This is Centered, where faith meets everyday life. Our hope is to invite you into a better story, a story where you're made new through Jesus, living with God-given purpose, and experiencing peace, joy, and freedom. Together, we'll explore what it means to keep Jesus at the center of where we live, work, and play, bringing beauty, meaning, and renewal to every part of our lives. Thank you for joining us. Here are your hosts, David and Ben.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Centered Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you're probably wondering, did David get some hair treatment or shave his beard? No, he did not. I mean, he might have, but he's not here. This is Andy Perlman. Andy, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, Andy is one of the elders here at Mosaic, and we're gonna spend a moment getting to know him in a minute here. But then we had a great day on Sunday, didn't we?
Oh my goodness, loved it.
Yeah. It was so great, and I was thinking we had a guest speaker for those that weren't there, Miguel Warren from Lighthouse Church, and he was killer. He was awesome. It was a great word, but just like, man, great energy. And the way like people were interacting with him, I kind of feel like David's going to be jealous. I don't know. Like, is he going to throw a tantrum on stage next Sunday if we're not like vibing with him the way we did with Miguel? I don't know.
Yeah. It was funny because you kind of like started as like kind of quiet.
Yeah. Like, can we do this? Are we allowed?
Yeah. Like a little soul started building in the church, like kind of, as we went on. And then, it was interesting.
People were going.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a really great message too. And we're going to talk all about it. That's really what this podcast is all about. How do we take this sermon that Miguel gave us and apply it to the everyday stuff of life? And so we're going to get super practical today, and I'm really excited to have Andy's voice as we do that. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to get to know Andy. So Andy, I got a few questions for you, and I don't know. We'll see if you surprise us. I don't know anything interesting here, but let's see. We've got first, just a real softball lob here. How long have you been a part of Mosaic? Actually, let me back up. Before that, tell me about your family. That's probably the most important thing. Tell me about your family.
So, married to my wife, Sarah. Been married 20 years this year. So
nice. Same as us.
Yeah. Yep. We have 3 kids. Silas, our oldest, he is a senior in high school. We have Caleb, who is a freshman, and Muriel, our daughter, who is in 7th grade this year. So
awesome.
Yep.
Great family. My boys were one stayed the night and one had school today. So, but so they were hanging out, having fun. So glad you're here. Thank you. And now, how long have you guys been a part of Mosaic, or it's different iterations?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually moved back. So Sarah and I both grew up like right here. Like we are local kids, and we made it as far as Inglewood.
Wow.
Yep. Got way out there.
Got way far away.
And then when we bought our first house, we moved kind of back to this area, and we were looking for a church, and we went to Bellevue Community Church.
Yes.
Tiny little church. And we walked in, and it was like a bunch of people we grew up with. It was kind of this church. It was funny because there was like this, it was mostly an older church, but then there was like this really vibrant, like 20 something just entering the kids phase, which is right where we were at.
Yeah.
And so we started going there. That was 2011.
2011. Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah. 14 years.
Yeah. So just a little Silas and a little Caleb maybe at that point.
Yeah. Caleb. Yes. Caleb was just born.
Wow.
Yep. He was a year old when we moved into our house. So
nice. And then for those of you that don't know the history, Bellevue became what is now Mosaic through a merge with The Rock and all sorts of great things, multiple mergers that have kind of made us this little mosaic of churches and people to one family. So awesome. And man, what does a normal like week look like for you outside of Sundays?
Okay, outside of Sunday. So I work from home. I work for a tiny little company that's based in Boston. We do healthcare research essentially. So I am in the house pretty much all the time. Just work from my office upstairs. And yeah, we're at that teenage kid phase. So we are just running around to kid events. That's most of our life. Outside of that, we love to go on walks. Sarah and I do like a walk most nights. I love to cook. So a lot of times it's go on a walk, come back, cook dinner, and then hustle to whatever event is calling our name that night. Yeah.
Going. Nice. Okay. So how do you work at home? Like, do you have an office that you like shut the door? What's the homework office routine?
Yeah. So I have a dedicated room. In fact, like we were in our old house, and one of the reasons we moved a few years ago was I was going to be work from home permanently, and I just couldn't handle the basement. I am a 2-screen computer kind of guy, so I don't like to move around. Sometimes I always think, oh, I should go work from the back porch. It's so beautiful. It would be so pleasant. And I get out there and like 10 minutes later, I'm like, I'm so frustrated that I can't see my screen. Yeah. I'm like, go back to the office. So yeah, nice. I'm definitely just stick in the office.
Nice. Yeah. That works. Yeah. I don't do well in the chaos of like family and stuff. That's hard. That's a hard work environment.
I hate, like, one of my favorite days of the year is when everybody goes back to school. My wife, Sarah, she's a teacher. I love them, but like, it is like this silence, and just because I am a very distractible person, like I am not like any little distraction can get me going one way. And so when they're home, like I'll walk downstairs, and it's like going downstairs to get water turns into like 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
Because I'm like checking in, talking to people.
What's going on?
And then I forget like that I'm working. And then I'm like,
me too.
Got to go back upstairs. And so, I love it when it's silent in the house.
Nice. Okay. What's something that most people at Mosaic might not know about you?
Oh my goodness. Might not know about me.
Give us your deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah.
Your sin life. No.
I think the thing that, and this is, I don't know how true this is about me anymore. This is kind of maybe something from the past a little bit that I think would surprise more people. I love to paint.
Really?
I love artwork. I love drawing. I love painting. I don't really do it anymore. It's kind of
like a canvas, and like you'll paint
Yep. Absolutely love oil painting. Right now it's kind of cool. Caleb, our middle child, is in an art class. And the teacher said, hey, it's Inktober, which I guess is this thing where every October you do an ink drawing every day, and they give you a like 1-word prompt. It's been really cool because my dad is super into art. My sister is a very good artist. And so we've been doing this like text chain where every day we submit our drawings to each other that we can remember to do it. And it's kind of getting those juices going on. Like, I need to set aside time to do this again. But yeah, I think that's something not many people actually know about me.
I would never have guessed that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I have no artistic skill, at least not that kind of art.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're kind of artistic every Sunday.
Yeah, there is a little bit of artistic skill, but not in terms of, man, if I got to like draw something, like I can do a mean stick figure and I can't paint to save my life. I can paint a room, but yeah. Okay. That's cool. What's something fun that helps you recharge or just, I don't know, get back into feeling like Andy?
Definitely fly fishing, like being in the outdoors, but specifically like Sarah knows, like if I start being kind of cranky around the house, sometimes she's just like, you got to leave, go fish. Fly fish. And that fixes like a half day in a river by myself, fixes a lot.
Really? And you like going by yourself?
I love going with people. I loved like teaching people how to fly fish and like helping people catch fish. Absolutely love it. But like, I do really treasure, like, I love being alone. I love silence. I love like driving. I can just, no radio,
Oh,
just the window down,
oh,
hours of silence. I just love it.
That's
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay. I wouldn't. I knew the fly fishing. I figured that was going to come up somewhere in one of
Yeah.
these questions. So yeah, that makes sense. But I wouldn't have guessed the alone part. That's cool. What's one small joy or routine in your life right now that maybe helps you stay centered on Jesus?
Mm. Well, we do a guys Bible study.
Mm.
Your boys come,
Yeah.
or Ben comes. It's for high school boys. And we kind of do that during the school year. And so we're back into that, and we're reading chronologically through the Bible. And so like right now, like that morning, like I get up, kind of have my quiet time like a lot of people do. But we're going through the Gospels right now, which is really special.
Yeah.
Because you're going chronologically. So you're like flipping through and reading the same story. And it's like such a cool way. I've never done this before.
Yeah.
To go through the Bible and go through specifically the Gospels. And it's been really sweet. I've been seeing things in new light, learning some things. It's been really,
It's really interesting to see like how, with the Gospels specifically, like one author will point out one element of the story that another doesn't, or maybe we'll pull more out of that component. And it's really cool to see, just the different ways that they approach the same story, based on who they're writing to or what their goal is for the story.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think you also kind of see like, at least I'm noticing for myself, you read through the Gospels and it is a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of see some of it, but like hammering the same story over and over again, it kind of like maybe some themes are starting to come that I didn't notice before. Like, because you just keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It's like, oh, wow, this was kind of a period where this seemed to be happening. Right. And then we move into kind of this theme. And I'm not a good literary person, like pulling themes out of things. This is not I'm a numbers guy, not that sort of thing. But it's been coming alive for me in a kind of new way because of some of the themes I think you see when you do it that way. So
no, that's cool, especially when it's chronological, because you can actually see like, oh, during this period, there's a lot of this theme coming out versus, another time period, different things. So that's cool. Andy, you're an elder. You don't look that old. Like what is an elder, especially like what is an elder at Mosaic?
That is a great question. I think that's a question that actually the elder board is continually working on and refining. So like if you have been at Mosaic for a long time, I would say there's a lot of growth in what the elder board is and how we're functioning, and that therefore growth in what an elder actually means at Mosaic. So a lot of churches nowadays operate very much with a board sort of mentality. And
for sure.
It's like a board of advisors. It's really there to kind of okay things, double check the staff. And that's still a function. I think in this season, we're really leaning harder into that shepherding sort of idea of really trying to build really good cohesive relationships among each other. Really wrestling with some more theological things, trying to spend some time and discussion of some of these things where it takes a lot of conscious effort to not just move into the business of the church.
Right.
We have one meeting a month. That's not a lot of time with a church this size. There's so much going on. It takes kind of a real effort to do that, but it's been a really sweet season. So I think where, what we want the elders to mean at Mosaic is leadership, but leadership that's more than just decision-making, leadership that's by example, leadership that's servant leadership by relationship.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah. I've been a part of a few different boards, and they really can look very differently depending on the complexion of the board members, of the leader, the pastor, the chairman, all that stuff. Sometimes they're very business focused.
Yeah.
Like all business almost. And sometimes they're much more, shepherding. And I think there's always a component of business because that's, the world that we live in and what, churches are, but it's also so much more than just a business.
Yeah. And it's nice to be in a season where there's not chaos. I mean, we've had a lot of seasons of chaos.
Ups and downs.
And in those seasons, a lot of times the business just is overwhelming. I mean, you're just trying to make things happen, trying to keep things moving along. It's really sweet to be in a season where it's like, hey, we can take a breath. There's not fires to be put out everywhere, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's a good segue into last question I have is when you think about the future here at Mosaic, like what excites you? What do you see?
I think I see a lot of things. I think the thing that gets me really going is I think there has been a refining process that's gone on.
Yeah.
And what I see in myself, I think in a lot of other people, is a hunger just to go where God wants. Kind of the, like growth, whatever, like great. If that's what God has for Mosaic is to grow, great. We want to make sure we can pay the bills, but that's just not, it doesn't seem like that's the mentality or the mindset. Right. And I'm excited about that because I think there's an openness. And I think when there's that openness, we'll start to see God work in really surprising and exciting ways. And I think that makes me excited. I'm excited to see what does that mean? And where's that go?
Yeah. It's one of those things David and I have talked a fair amount about, like just trying to let go of outcomes, because when you're focused on outcomes and you're leading a church, a primary focus, almost just a natural byproduct, becomes growth. Mm-hmm. More people, more generosity, more giving, more, you're able to do more. And like, these aren't bad things by any stretch.
No, not at all.
But when they become the primary focus, everything you do is driven to meet that end. Whereas in a world where we're less focused on outcomes and more focused on like God's leading, there's the potential for things that we would never conceive doing that may or may not lead to growth, but will lead to seeing God move in some really cool and exciting ways. And so, I see that too. So I love it. Hey, thanks for indulging us with that. And letting everybody get to know you. I just so you know, my personal take, Andy's a great person to have on our elder team. And I've told you this before, like I think, and I'm sure it's going to come out in this episode. I think Andy's really thoughtful. And I think just like you have some really keen insights, but they're very like, not just grounded, but I think like you have a really keen way of seeing like people in the way that you approach things. And so I love that. And I'm super glad that you're part of our elder team and a part of this podcast today. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. So I think now is a great time to like, let's talk about the meat of the message. Let's talk about what Miguel gave us in a really great message. I got a few things I'll toss out at you. If you got anything, man, jump in. But one of the things that Miguel said is authority from God doesn't trap people. It frees them. And, talking about, the Pharisees and how they wanted to like, maintain control and, keep the status quo where they are the religious leaders and they're kind of lording their religious practices over the people, as opposed to like liberating them, freeing them from that and pointing them towards towards God. And so, it kind of begs the question, like, how can we tell when our leadership or our influence looks more like control than like a liberating kind of service?
Yeah. So I think right back to what you're talking about, letting go of outcomes.
Yeah.
I think when you're holding on to outcomes, I think fear is like, I think one of the number one indicators that you are like focused on control. And what's like, I find so interesting is like, they were afraid of what the people would do if they were honest about John the Baptist.
Right.
And so their power, their authority came from the control of those people. And they knew that. They recognized that because they were afraid if we say the wrong thing, the power is really with these people. They can take us out. They don't have to follow us. And I love it because, when John the Baptist is beheaded, it talks about Herod being afraid of the people. And there's like this juxtaposition of Herod and the Pharisees. And like, it's two like kind of opposite, but exactly the same because they're operating in this control power structure. And like this, back to like reading the Gospels side by side, like one thing that really jumped out at me recently was when it talks about beware the yeast. In one section, it says, beware the yeast of the Pharisees.
Right.
And you start thinking, oh, that's legalism. But then in another gospel, it says, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Herod.
Oh.
And so like, it totally struck me. I'm like, he's not talking about legalism. I think he's talking about this exact thing, control
Wow.
of people for two totally different, like Herod was like hedonism, like get what's comfortable and feels good. And the Pharisees were all about this control of like religious institution. But like that, I think that they were both afraid of the power of the people. Whereas I think when you're not in that mindset, you're for the people. You're like you're like looking to lead people into something good.
Right. Towards flourishing.
Yeah. If they don't listen to you, it's sad, but it's not fearful.
Right. Right. Well, and we all know that we make our best decisions in fear.
Yes.
That's sarcasm, folks. No, like my worst decisions typically have been made out of fear, whether it's, a financial fear or a leadership fear or whatever it is. Man, I've made some of the dumbest decisions of my life based on fear. And so, I think that's a huge part of control. I also think like manipulation is like a really key part of it, where you see people as a tool to be used rather than like a person to bless or to help or, to pour into. And so like that is a huge thing in there. I think Miguel actually said this, and I thought it was real. It kind of answers the question in a sense too. He says, if you're the only one winning around you, you might be using your authority to build your kingdom and not his. And that was really like telling us like, oh, wow. Okay. So if everything that we're doing is all about me succeeding, that's control. That's me wanting to exercise my authority over people, as opposed to, a completely different dynamic where people are empowered. It's for their good, whether it's that they can grow or that they can, experience something good or whatever it is, even within like, the corporate world, like, man, I've experienced great joy when I see someone take like big steps forward in their career or in their like just knowledge or understanding. Like that's a different kind of leadership than like, you're here to serve my needs as the manager, the business owner, whatever it is.
Oh, and it's so like, I think it's very hard not to get in that mindset. I think it's really like, I spent some time managing a team, and, I wish that I could look back and say that I was always just for my employees. But I can specifically remember times where like I did like 90% of the work to set them up, and then they like kind of finagled their way through the last little bit and had success and were recognized for that success. And like my sinful nature was like, yeah, not super happy that I'm like, like, oh, they're getting this acknowledgement. And I
did the work.
I did a lot of the work. And
yeah.
you kind of are like, that kind of sits wrong.
Yeah.
Which is even funnier as a manager. Cause like, if you're a coworker, you're like, it sits wrong, but it's, as a manager, like their success is my success. Like
right.
If my team is doing well, that
You look
only
good.
reflects good on me.
Yes.
If somebody's doing well under my leadership, and even still, it would be hard at times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause if you're just coworkers, it's like, there's a natural like jealousy that can creep in, but it doesn't benefit me necessarily that my coworker is thriving.
Yeah.
But as a manager, there is like a bit of a symbiotic, like, benefit to you when someone on your team is thriving. But I think that's even true in churches. I've had moments where it's like another church is succeeding and I'm like, really? Or like I don't like, and that jealousy can creep in because you're working hard, and so it doesn't just live in the secular world. It's all of life. I feel like we have this potential to see the world through a lens that's just self, wanting to, I don't know, gratify the self or look good or be good or
be right.
Yeah.
I think in church, it's so easy to have like, we all have our ministry philosophy, even if you're not, like every single person has like, this is how things should be done at church. And we think, oh, this is the way to fix the church. And, and a lot of times people are probably right to a degree, but like oftentimes there'll be like a ministry or somebody else who's doing it a different way. And they're actually doing the thing that you don't like. And then sometimes that has success because God's in it. And you're like, no, I don't like this, or I
can't have success doing that.
Like, I don't know how many times, you sit there and you're like, why is the church spending resources? And, you get all grumbly, like, why is this happening? I don't think this is a good way to do this. And, and like, sometimes you might be right, but other times it's like, and then what do you do if it is successful? Are you able to rejoice in the fact that does that? Or do you explain it away? Like, that's, not really happening, or that smoke and mirrors or whatever,
Right. It's not healthy growth or whatever, we're able to rationalize it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. It's really hard to consistently be the kind of person who uses our authority for the good and blessing of others as opposed to the self. And so, yeah, it's a trap for all of us. Okay. Shifting gears here. Miguel also talked about this. He said, Jesus gave up his seat in heaven. He took on flesh and made room for us at the table. And he said, have you made a seat when nobody else wanted you there? Or, but he gave up his seat so that you could have one. And so just kind of like, how does understanding that truth about what Jesus did for us, how does that change the way that we use our influence? Like the reason that we have a seat at the table?
Yeah, I think that like authority, like this, it's such a funny thing because like, honestly, when we start talking about sharing in God's authority, my mind immediately goes to kind of the Pentecostal, like, representation of faith. And like, that's not something I've grown up with. I'm probably not as comfortable with that. And like
the speaking in tongues.
Yeah. And some of that, and like the claiming of Christ's authority, like that's definitely part of that. And I think that sometimes we, and I'm not saying anything about the Pentecostal movement, like in my own mind, we start taking that authority as like, oh, this authority is associated with the exercise of power. Like that's in my mind, if I say authority is the exercise of power. And like Jesus does it the exact opposite. He's like, authority is the laying aside of my power. Like
Right.
He still exercised power, but so often, like he laid aside way more power than he ever exercised. Like if you think about
Right.
the miracles, like
Right.
he did miracles in a small region of the world that didn't like, he laid aside so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's all that, we always talk about upside down kingdom. It's upside down authority of just like, I'm going to lay all this aside
Right.
and step into the role of a servant, step into that role. And so like sharing in that authority, like the weight of burden that puts on me is like, yes, it's exciting that I get to like have the confidence of that authority. Like
Yeah.
we have that authority in our lives, which is unreal,
Crazy. Yeah.
but we're supposed to exercise it as Jesus exercised it, which is terrifying because it doesn't sound super pleasant to really lay aside the right and the power and just seek the good of people at whatever it might cost me.
Yeah. I think like a good, like in my mind, a microcosm of that idea is where Jesus said to go the extra mile, right? Where the Roman soldier could just stop a Jew at any point and say, hey, you're going to carry my stuff for 1 mile. And, it's humiliating. It's obviously like you might have been walking the other direction. Like it's a huge detour. It's inconvenient, but it's also like a little demoralizing. And what does Jesus say? He says, no, don't just go the 1 mile, go an extra mile. And what's crazy about that is you could feel like that's more demeaning, right? Like you're just piling on to this like disrespectful thing that you're doing. But actually what you've done is you have removed the power from the person who's lording it over you by saying, no, I'm going to go even further than the law requires. I'm going to do more. And, I think about, there was this, gosh, I can't remember the exact details, but there was a guy who basically worked with people who were coming out of prison. And I think he owned like a store. And so he would hire them and just to kind of help them get back on their feet. And he had this guy that stole from him. And somebody asked him, like, how does that make you feel? And he's like, you can't steal from someone who is like giving it to you. Like basically he's saying like, it didn't matter to me. Like everything I have is yours. And I'm here to serve you and help you. And like, what a crazy mindset to have. Like,
I know. Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I could do that. Like I would be offended if someone stole from me that I was helping.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so hard. I was, it kind of recalled for me a sermon I heard, talking about turning the other cheek.
Mm-hmm,
and like, I think in our mindset, we often get like that, turn the other cheek, like, that it's not coming from a place of power. But this guy was saying like, no, like that is the ultimate to sit there and like, if you literally sit there and take a punch and just take it, like that's a statement of like
strength.
Yeah, I'm in this position. I can just take this. I'm going to take what you throw at me, and not retaliate. And kind of that same idea of like, I have the authority. I have this authority. I'm united with the God of the universe. Like I have power. I have authority. I'm just not going to use that for my own sake. I'm going to lay it aside for you is like, so, I mean, imagine if we actually followed through with this.
Right.
Like the change that.
Oh yeah. No. And I was thinking too about like Miguel was saying like, he's talking about like when you get to heaven or whatever. And he's like, oh, you're here. Yeah. Like I didn't, and where's so-and-so? Like I thought they would be here. They're not here, and that whole thing. But really like the main emphasis of what he was getting at is like, we should be surprised that we're there, and that's the kind of humility that, Jesus exercised in his power and his authority is that he's like, hey, he had all the power, all the authority, and he laid it down and he took on flesh and man, he endured everything we endure to the cross. And at no point did he lord his authority over his, oppressors, if you would.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Like, and David has read it as a benediction several times. I think it's Philippians, like being very nature God. He did not
Mhm.
consider equality with God something to be grasped. You know,
Yes.
like that benediction is so, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a humbling thing for me, not just to see Jesus's humility, but for me to go, and he did that like for me, which is really humbling. And so like I think it's interesting. We're talking about humility, but we're also talking about strength and confidence and the authority that we have. Like it feels like there's those two things can be in tension, to be humble, but to be confident at the same time. Like, what do you think it looks like to walk confidently in this like spiritual authority that Jesus gives us, but not like go into the pride part that the Pharisees obviously demonstrated. And
Yeah. I mean, I think this, like going back to what he was saying, like whose kingdom are you building? And I think so often when we are tempted to that power, it comes from that place of building our own kingdom. Because like for me, like I'm definitely somebody who can struggle with confidence. Like I can get really down on myself but it's pride. It's my pride that I'm not living up to a standard that I've set, that I'm not this or that I feel like I have let this person down or that person down. It's all about my own kingdom. It's about how does this person perceive me? How do I perceive myself? It's not about how God perceives me. And I think when you have a realization of how God perceives you and you're looking to build his kingdom, like how God loves you.
Right.
And so you can come from strength, but you also know like God's got all of this. I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be worried about how this person reacts to me. Like they're not the end game here.
Right.
I don't have to be worried about what I think about this. Like I can be a fool. And like, maybe that's what God has for me in this moment. That's terrifying. Like
It's
makes
horrible.
my skin crawl to ever think that I would need to look foolish.
Right.
I don't love that. But I think it all comes down to like when you're so focused on a goal, it shades everything out.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes I'm so focused on building my own kingdom. That's what becomes the predominant thing. And so I'm managing all these things. It's super stressful. And I start using manipulation and control to try to achieve this because those are the tools that I have. Those are the tools of the flesh.
Right.
Whereas the tools of the spirit are, gentleness, kindness, love. Like those are the tools that we should be using. Really hard to do though.
Very hard to do. And you the way you're talking about it makes me think of like image management. Like we want to maintain a certain image. We want people to view us a certain way. And it goes back to, isn't that exactly what the Pharisees were doing? I thought it was really funny the way Miguel's like, well, like, well, if we say this, then they're going to say, why didn't you listen to them if they say this? And he goes, we don't know, like he did that whole, like, I don't know. He kind of like role played it out for us, which was funny, but like that's what the Pharisees were doing. They're trying to control their image. Now, in this case, they thought it related to their safety, right? Like they're going to kill us if we say what we really think here. And that's maybe not the case in our world. We're probably not going to get stoned for image management or poor image management, but we are going to feel embarrassed. We are going to not like looking like a fool. Those things, like, I don't know. I don't enjoy those things either.
No. Well, and I think like for them, they would rather die. Like they were so concerned about it happening their way. Like they had their vision for how Israel, because ultimately what they were trying to do was get God's presence. Like I'm going way back to a professor from a long time ago, so maybe this is wrong. But what I remember from school was that the Pharisees had a belief that if they could get all of Israel to follow all the law for one day, that the Messiah would come. So ultimately, their goal was for the Messiah and God's presence.
Yeah.
And they were so dead set on that they just missed it.
Yeah.
And so obsessed with their own kingdom. And I mean, it sounds insane, but there are times where I feel like I know in my heart, I'm like, I'd rather die. I'm so in that, like, I'm afraid of dying. I don't want to admit this, but I'd also rather die than admit to something that's going to embarrass me or,
being wrong or looking foolish or whatever the thing is. Yeah. Yeah. And it is wild. And I don't know if I've heard the one day thing, but I absolutely know. Yes. Like the premise is like God's blessing, which ultimately was, the coming of the Messiah and God's kingdom, being reenacted or rebuilt, and the glory of Israel and everything that went along with it in their minds was directly attached to the obedience of Israel, right? And so, it's like a good thing overdone becomes a bad thing. Like, it's actually a good thing to want people to follow God's law and like walk in his way. That is not a bad thing. But when you do it in such a way that is actually more about control than flourishing, like we've been talking about, well, now this really good thing becomes a detrimental bad thing. And I think that's what's really, really interesting about the Pharisees is that I think they wanted a good thing. Yeah. But they went about it the wrong way and it turned into a bad thing. And that's pretty crazy. I think too, when we go back, like when we talk about, confidence, like in my mind, the difference between like a prideful confidence and a humble confidence is like, what's the source? If the source of my confidence is me, that's pride. If the source of my confidence is God, well, that's like proper, that's where my confidence should reside. And that's actually humble, because in that I'm recognizing God's position is higher than my own, my place in the world as, he is creator, I am creature, and my life is really to worship him and to reflect him to the world around me. And so I can walk in confidence, but not a confidence that's like in my own ability or in, my own, resting in my laurels or whatever that is, but in who God is and who he created me to be, and that he is the one who's equipped me to do X, Y, or Z, whatever the assignment is before me. And to me, that's like a huge difference in the right kind of confidence, like a humble confidence or a prideful confidence.
Yeah. And then going back to the outcomes too. I need the outcomes to prove that what I'm doing is right.
It validates, doesn't it?
It validates. But if you're coming from that place of God being the source, you can let go of the outcomes, because it's not about what you can see in a moment. But if it's about me, if I'm doing something, because I'm short-sighted, because I'm human, don't know things, I need to have that affirmation, this is going well. Oftentimes it's not going as well as you even think, but
Yeah. No. And to know that God is the one responsible.
Yeah.
When I'm the one responsible, then I need that validation. But when God is the one responsible, my actual, what I need to be is faithful. And that's a different dynamic. All right. One more thing for me. So he gave us Miguel did a really good job of contrasting the world's authority and kingdom authority, and he gave I just pulled out, I found 9 different ones I could come up with that he kind of pulled out, contrasting the world's authority and kingdom authority or Jesus's authority. And I want to read through them and just see like if any one stood out to you in the message. So he says these are themes, not necessarily quotes, but the world authority controls, Jesus's authority frees. The world's authority elevates self. We talked about this a little already. Jesus's authority humbles self. The world's authority excludes. Jesus's authority invites. The world's authority protects position. Jesus's authority shares it. The world's authority divides. Jesus's authority unites. The world's authority condemns. Jesus's authority redeems. The world's authority is temporary. Jesus's authority is eternal. And the last one, the world's authority traps. Jesus's authority transforms. So like, I don't know if any one of those like stood out to you as you were listening to him or.
Yeah. I mean, we talked a lot about some of those things. I think one of them that you were talking about, gosh, just totally lost.
It's gone.
Yeah,
happens
totally
to me
lost.
too.
You went through them, and I was like, "Oh, that's the one I want to talk about."
That's
and then
the one.
And then you started talking about traps, and I was like, "Oh, that's also a good one." And so I kind of lost the first one, admittedly. But let's maybe go to traps.
Okay, let's talk about traps. Traps are good. Well, actually, traps are bad.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of it, again, kind of the theme coming back to control.
Yeah.
And manipulation, but again, just like the idea that, you know, you're always, if you're coming at it from a worldly perspective, you're always angling for something.
Mm-hmm.
And
for yourself, usually.
Yeah. And it requires a lot of control, a lot of stress. When you're coming at it from God's kingdom and looking for transformation, like one, you know, you can't control that. So again, letting go of outcomes. I know I can't change somebody's heart. Like
I sure can.
You just are like, oh, I can't do this. Like it's easy to know that. And so you can kind of let go and just see what God does. And it kind of brings in like, you know, what you're looking for. Like, are you looking to build God's kingdom? Are you looking to build transformation? Are you looking to see that?
Yeah.
And there's a patience there that I really like about that idea of transformation because it's not super fast. And I think a lot of times in church, we want things to happen really quickly. We want that. And so we get into that manipulation. Let's try to make people feel a certain way. Let's try to, you know, organize it this way and manipulate and try to push and create and manufacture something that isn't quite real versus looking for transformation and knowing like that's hard, dirty, long work a lot of times. Like, you know, sometimes it happens quickly, but a lot of people like are resistant. Like our hearts are resistant to truth. And so I love the idea of being focused on transformation because it's like, one, I can't do it. Two, like this is going to take a long time. It's going to take a while for things to grow and mature.
Well, if you've spent 20 years in a really broken way of living, it is, apart from the power of the Spirit, literally impossible to transform overnight.
Yeah.
And that's actually not typically how we see God work. Usually it is a slow growth. Usually it is a slow progression. And, you know, we've even seen, you know, just within our community by kind of inviting that, we've seen people's brokenness come out, which is hard, but also like really beautiful because you can see the Spirit at work. And that's how, you know, man, like generational cycles can be broken. That's how people can overcome addictions or depression and anxiety that has been like grabbing a hold of them for years. Like we're seeing some of those things bubble to the surface, and those are hard things. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot of work to walk through people in those big things. But man, it's rewarding work, and you're seeing God move in ways. And when we function from a self-serving, kind of authority, there's almost like this, it feels adversarial, like traps. Like literally, I think of traps. I think of like, oh, there's a critter under my deck or something, and I got to trap it. Like, it's not something I'm like, ooh, like, if your dog is lost and run off, you're not going to trap your dog. Yeah. You're going to try to rescue your dog. You're going to try to bring it home. So like, it's like this totally different mindset of like, I want to entrap you. I want to catch you.
Yeah.
Versus I want to rescue you.
Yeah.
And so, when we have that mindset of rescuing, man, we see hard things come out. It is a long road, to your point.
Yeah.
It's good work. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Slow growth is like, there's so many like, trees that grow fast, they break.
Right.
They don't stand up to the storms. Trees that grow slow, they are around for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many kind of cool examples about why like slow growth. And like, I totally believe, like, I've seen people who come to Christ and there are things in their life that they are just freed from.
Absolutely.
Like, that is wonderful.
It's beautiful.
But I think a lot of times there is value, and like, it's a bit of a tangent, but my daughter asked me, at first I didn't understand what she was asking. It was a really deep question, but the question started off something like, why are we born babies? And like, I was like, huh? And what she was wrestling with is, why aren't we just given maturity? Why do I have to go through this growing process where I don't understand things, where I don't, like, she was wrestling with the like concept of like, this is kind of hard. Like, I don't like that I'm not fully formed.
Right.
And like,
wow,
I was just it really hit me, because it was like, wow, God didn't intend that. Like, there's talks about Jesus growing in stature, growing in reputation. Like, he grew, like, we get to grow. Like, this is part of God's good design, is that growth. And like, the whole idea of trapping is like, that's not about facilitating that and not being okay with that. It's like, I'm going to contain and restrain instead of allow for, expansion and growth.
Right. No, that's a really deep question she asked.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I love when my kids ask questions like that. I wish they did it more. If you're listening, no, I'm kidding. They're probably not listening. Sometimes they do. But no, I love having those kinds of conversations with them, though, because it really opens up, like, you get a window into like what she's thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's birthed from some like pain point of like not fully understanding or not fully being there yet. And like that kind of impatience that we all have to be there, to have arrived. And I'm like, man, I'm with you, Mary. I like, why am I not mature yet?
I know. Well, and it like taught me, like, I literally think I will remember this for a long, long time, because it really, like, I was forced to kind of sit in that question for a little bit. And then, like, it really kind of like almost God revealing something to me in that of like, this is a really cool thing that God has given us. Cause sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes like, why am I still this way? Why do I know in my head, I shouldn't be this way. I know I shouldn't care about this or want this or whatever. And it's frustrating. But like God isn't super concerned with like us achieving this certain level of holiness.
Right.
It really is about that growth. And that's exciting.
That's cool. Yeah. I want to give you a chance. If you anything we didn't talk about that you had.
I mean, there was so much, we could be here forever.
We could be here forever. It's true.
I would say, say I'm good.
All right, let's have a little fun then.
All right.
It's time for Just for Funsies. So, all right. We got a quick little detour here. It's going to be about authority. And if you're new to the podcast, what we do is we just take an idea that was in the sermon or something. We have a little fun with it. And so in this one, I'm calling it, Whose really in charge. And we're going to talk about our households and certain things within the household. Who controls this? Who has the authority in this area? We know that there's unspoken power battles in every home. And so we're going to have fun with it. And hopefully we don't get in trouble with our wives. Okay. All right. So first question, who's really in charge of the thermostat?
Oh, so I will say I am.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the reason. When we first got married, I like things cold. I like the house generally fairly cold, especially when we sleep.
Yep.
And Sarah was not that way. And I don't know how it happened. I don't know. I think I must have just been so bullheaded and constantly opening windows, that now she's almost worse than I am. Like we still have fans in the window. It's mid-October. We probably have another month of the fan being in the window at night, blowing freezing cold air into our room.
Really?
Yes. We like it. We both like, neither of us can sleep if it's hot. So we're on the same page now, but I'd say, yeah. How about you guys?
Oh man. It's me, but it is a power struggle at times because I'm more like you, although I'm comfortable in just about any temperature other than I cannot be hot when I'm sleeping like that. Yeah. I won't sleep. Oh. So that's hard. But outside of that, I'm pretty like good with whatever, but I'm cheap.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't want to run the AC more than I need to. I don't want to run the heat more than I need to. And so, and poor Lauren is cold all the time. And so I remember like I'd be at work and she'd just send me a picture of like wearing a hoodie where the hood's like covering everything, but like her eyes, nose, and mouth. And she's like, it's freezing in here. And I'd go look at the thermostat, you know, cause like smart thermostat or whatever. I'm like, it's 68. Like you're fine. Like, but it's like trying to guilt me into, you know, turning the heat up. And it did not work. I don't know. Maybe I'm a cruel person, but all right. Who has the authority when it comes to dinner? You said you like to cook. Oh. Are you the authority in the dinner realm or?
Shared, honestly.
Yeah.
So we have seasons. So Sarah's a teacher, in the school year. It's on me. I do the meal planning. I cook in the summers. I barely enter the kitchen. She takes care of it all.
Nice.
It's her choice. She, for many years when she was staying at home, it was her. I would drive her nuts because I would seize that control sometimes because I'm a very spontaneous person. Hey. And on the drive home from work, I'd be like, I really am in the mood for X. And I would stop and buy all the ingredients for X and come home and start cooking it. And she would have a meal already purchased and ready to like, you know. And she's like, I hate when you do this. And it wasn't probably the best thing for me to do, but yeah.
Well, we're going to edit out the first part of the podcast where you said you handle everything because my wife listens and I handle nothing. So you're making me look bad, Andy. No, in our home, man, Lauren really does control the dinner menu aside from, you know, when we first got married, I swear 5 nights a week, she'd make some kind of chicken dish. And I was like, you know, it's like a couple months in, like there are other meats. Like we don't have to just eat chicken. And she was like, what? And so it kind of opened things up. So I have input, but you know, she does all the meal prep and buys the groceries, cooks the groceries. She's great cook too. And I'm terrible. I can't cook. Just bad. So I can grill. I've smoked a little, you know, that's fun, but it's her. Yeah.
Sarah does do the weekends. I'll clarify that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't do
credit
everything.
where credit's due.
All me.
Yeah. We don't want you getting in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. You're in the car. Who has control over the radio, the music or whatever's?
The moment we enter the car, like as we are approaching the car, if Silas is coming, he's like, can I have aux? Can I have aux? Dad, I want aux.
That's
which
funny.
Auxiliary, like
Right. He wants to
it's
control
not-
it from his phone.
He's just like, he's obsessed with music and he gets really mad. Like he does not like it. Like the other day, we drove up to the mountains and I had him drive because I'm like, you need to get some mountain experience. I'm like, and since I'm the pastor, I get ox. And he was like
Salty.
literally a little upset about it.
That's fine.
So he often has control.
Okay.
I rarely have control. In fact, the cars seem to know this. I've set the Bluetooth up, yet somehow every car I enter,
you get bypassed.
I get bypassed. My phone, we have to like spend 10 minutes to try to get my phone to connect if there's another phone anywhere in, because they're all like, nah, the cars just know.
Yeah.
Like this guy's phone is not important.
His music, his playlist is horrible. We're not even going to give him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
How about you guys?
So it sounds like almost like for you guys, it's almost more the passenger though than the driver.
Yeah, but I drive everywhere pretty much.
Yeah. So all the more reason. Yeah. In ours, it's primarily the driver, and the cars are kind of set up. You know, if we're in her car, I don't even think I have my Bluetooth set up on her car at all. And then in my car, it defaults to me first and then her. But I will say, if I'm driving, I don't just listen to whatever I want if she's in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would listen to maybe a sports podcast or maybe some music that she doesn't really love. And so I'll just kind of adjust so she can, feel like a part of the car ride and not just zone out and listen to we have done it where I'll listen to a podcast and she'll pop in some AirPods or whatever and listen to her own thing. But for the most part, we want to, we're riding together. We want to like talk and be together, so I will concede a little bit. Yeah. Okay. You're running late. Who is the authority on when you leave the house?
Oh gosh. Sarah hates this about me. So Sarah hates to be late. Oh, but okay. So actually there's two situations in which we each have, I don't know about control, but we get angry and frustrated.
Okay.
So hers is like pretty much everywhere. Like if there's an event where there's a start time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not great. And she does not love that. So yeah, she has control. She's cracking the whip, getting everyone going.
Getting you out the door.
For sure. But if we're going to do something that seems unscheduled to her, so like I love being in the mountains. She thinks of this as like, oh, we'll just go to the mountains. She's gotten better, but especially when we first got married, she's like, why do we need to wake up early? Why do we need to? And then we would inevitably like pack up, we'd get up there and it would start raining on us. I'm like, no, or we'd be sitting in traffic. So like, I get very like, I am like drill sergeant. If it's like, hey, we're going skiing, we're doing something in the mountains. It's like, I'm after everyone. I'm like,
get in the car.
Oh
get
yeah.
ready.
Oh, we went on a hike the other day and Miri did not get up fast enough to eat breakfast. And I mistakenly just was like, no, let's go. And Miri does much better when she's got food in her stomach.
Most of us do.
Yeah, it was not the most pleasant hike that we've ever had as a family. There was some definite fighting that probably could have been avoided if I was just like a little more chill about leaving.
Right. Yeah, there's consequences to our actions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, in our home, Lauren likes to be late. Not really, but she has a tendency to be a few minutes late. I've learned to adjust by either, if it's her thing, I don't care.
Yeah.
If we're late to your like friend thing or like whatever, that's fine. But if it's my thing, I don't like to be late. And so I will maybe adjust the time we need to leave to compensate. She knows this, so it's not like, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. If we got to get to the airport at a certain time and like if we need to actually leave the house at, let's say 9, well, I'm going to tell her 8:45 because usually it's 15 minutes. It's something about that. And she, to be fair, she's the one getting us all like aligned and doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, you know. So like it's not like just because she's slow, she's doing a lot. But yeah, definitely I am trying to be the authority of when we get out the door, but she has other ideas. All right. Just one last one. The family calendar. Who's the authority?
Oh, I mean, by far and away, it is Sarah. Like I don't know. I just tell me where to be, when, and I'll try to adhere to the when, although clearly that's a struggle sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we have a shared calendar, so like I'm allowed to put stuff on there.
You have some permission.
If there's an opening, I can do that. I tend to not do that a ton. Like, it tends, because I'm, again, more spontaneous. So I kind of more like to wake up and be like, oh, there's nothing on the calendar. Let's go do something.
Yeah.
Not so much like, hey, there's an opening in a few months.
Can I book something?
Yeah, that's not my style. So yeah.
We're kind of similar. We have a family calendar, like Google Calendar kind of thing. And you know, she has hers, I have mine. She can put stuff on mine. I think I can put stuff on hers. No, I can't. I can put stuff on hers. But she definitely is the coordinator of the calendar, if you would, you know, making sure, you know, like if we're going to have someone over for dinner or we're going to go do something, like she is the planner for all those things. And I will just be like, hey, there's some guys hanging out on this. Is this cool? You know, more than I usually would just drop it in, but sometimes I will. And I have that freedom. I just try not to over exercise it.
Yeah. If we didn't have Sarah, the family would do nothing. Oh. We wouldn't plan anything. We would randomly go up to the mountains every now and then and kind of be hermits. Like you guys probably wouldn't know me. I would,
We're not much different.
She keeps us engaged in life.
Yeah, we're very much the same. My kids have more than once said, like, dude, we would be hosed if not for mom. And I'm like, yes, we would. Okay, let's keep it going. We're running long. Who knew we were so chatty? Let's hit a quick, not David's low-key obsession, but what is Andy's low-key obsession?
Let him cook. It's time for David's low-key obsession.
Okay. So actually I told Ben I had one, but I'm actually going to go with something totally different.
I love it. The spontaneous Andy.
Yep. No, I was actually thinking about the sermon, and we're talking a little bit about kind of having some soul in the thing. One thing that has just been on my mind a lot over the last several years is just think a lot about heaven, contemplate heaven a lot.
Yeah.
And so that is the broad low-key obsession. The specific associated with this sermon is just the excitement of the cross-cultural nature that's going to exist in heaven. Like that service, having Miguel preach, and it got me excited. I've just several times have come back to the thought of like, I can't wait to get to heaven. And hopefully, like, I have no clue that this is what it's going to be like, but I hope in my dream world that I'll get to listen to sermons by all these different people in different cultures. And that like part of that process, talking about growth again, this other thing, like I hope that like kind of part of that experience, like I don't think we're just going to be in heaven and like all of a sudden like know all this sorts of stuff.
Or we're
like,
stagnant or
I think like I got really excited about this idea of like, oh, I can't wait to go and kind of, cause like that kind of like classic Black church, like speak out, like the exciting music, like there's something that attracts me about that, but it's like so not who I am.
Right.
Like it's like so uncomfortable. And like, I was thinking, I kind of excited for heaven where you strip the sin away of like my own like uncomfortableness of all of it. And like, it's authentic and I'm able to just learn how to engage in that and listen. Like that was a really cool, like to me, Sunday was like, it always is, but I think you get used to the routine of your own church
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Sunday was a little bit of heaven. Like it was
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
this is really cool. And I'm really excited about that. And so that's kind of a low key obsession, is just,
Yeah. That's sweet. I hadn't thought about, I really enjoyed Sunday, and I hadn't applied it that far into like eternity. But yeah, when you talk about it, I'm like, oh, that is going to be cool. You know, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like either, obviously, but to be, and just, like you get to experience different flavors of culture, and, you know, and I'm assuming we'll still have those things in heaven, but again, like, who knows? What I do know is I won't feel like stress or pressure. I won't, you know, be tired, or I won't like be thinking about like the hard things of my life, because it won't be that either.
Yeah.
And so like there is just a beauty like where the sin and the brokenness of our world is stripped away, and we can really worship together. And that's really
and have
cool.
that unity and kind of I love experiencing other cultures. Just love it.
Yeah.
Love going new places. Love meeting people from other, nations and stuff. And so that gets me really excited about heaven, is just like that. Oh, we get to have that unity, and we'll understand each other, and language won't be a barrier,
No language
and
barrier.
like simple things like that. But it's
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. All right, let's land the plane.
okay.
How do we do this, Andy? In real life, we got to get practical here on the podcast. That's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
The everyday stuff of life, as David likes to say. What do you think? Give me one thing you think, man, this is how we do this in real life.
Hashtag IRL. And if you don't know what that means, you must be old.
I think for me, the thing I'm taking out from this a lot is related to evangelism. Of just like, hey, I do have the authority, the backing of heaven, but I need to approach it in the way of Christ. And so, I mean, evangelism very broadly, not just like speaking words, but part of that, like that's something that makes me really uncomfortable, really nervous.
Yeah.
But like, we see a lot of times where it talks about the good work God has prepared for us. Jesus often talks about like those that the Father has given him, referring to the people that he's going to have that influence on.
Yeah.
And like, I've just been thinking about that a lot. Like that to me is the application of just like going with a lot of freedom into, I don't need to control your response. I don't need to trap you or have the exact right words.
Convince.
Yeah, I can let go of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I'm able to more so like just give up control.
Yeah.
And not try to be like earning my way, which is ultimately what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my own kingdom where I'm this great guy that's this good Christian.
And he's saving so many people.
Yep. That's, I mean, honestly, there's like, that's so attractional. Like, I want to be this great, upstanding Christian.
Yeah.
And that can be part of it. And like just kind of I have the authority. I have backing of God. I have his power, so I can speak things into people's lives.
Yeah.
And if those things are things that they accept, great. If they're things they reject, maybe that's what God has given me.
Yeah.
And what God gave for Jesus to do was hard. And it wasn't like worldly seemingly successful, like in the moment.
Right.
And trying to take some encouragement in that and say, okay, maybe what God has for me, if he had that for Jesus, like it's good enough for me.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think mine relates, but it's maybe more the same kind of thing, but more broadly, it's just like, man, walk in confidence. So it might be evangelism.
Yeah.
It might be like serving in children's ministry, but not feeling equipped to do that. Mm-hmm. It might be offering to pray with someone in your workplace that maybe just had a diagnosis or is going through something hard in their lives, and you're not sure if this is okay, or, how it will be received, whatever it is that you feel like God's leading you to do, walk in confidence, not in yourself, not in your own ability to do it, but in the one who is putting this before you, in the one who's placed you where you are with purpose to do good work. And so, let's walk in confidence. And that sounds easy. It's easy to say, it's hard to do, but remember, your confidence does not come from your own ability, but from your Creator, who has gifted you and equipped you to do what he is calling you to do. And so, that's mine. It fits with evangelism, but it can be in any sphere of life. Well, I think that's a podcast.
All right. Awesome.
That's a wrap, man. Andy, thank you so much for doing this, for filling in. David, in case he was performing a wedding in Montana, he'll be back next week in Sunday service and in the podcast. But what a great stand-in. Man, thank you so much, Andy. Great conversation. And who knows, maybe people will clamor for you to come back and be a regular host on the Centered podcast.
Happy to come anytime you want me.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, man, you know the drill. If you get any value whatsoever in what we're doing, like it, subscribe to it, share it, put it out there into the world, into your friend groups, into your social media. Let people know, man, we just want to help people really live out their faith in the everyday stuff of life. And so, man, thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to Centered. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. You can listen to Centered on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube. To learn more about Mosaic or connect further, visit us online at welcometomosaic.com. See you next week.